If you are listening to our short clip on Instagram or TikTok, please visit greatdayradio.com or greatdaycolorado.com to listen to the full podcast episode. Now on to the show.
Welcome to the Man Cave on Great Day Radio. I'm DJ Mikey D, and today we're going deep on what it really takes to become that man who builds while others break, who endures when others quit. You know, I've been thinking a lot about success lately, real success, not just the flashy stuff, and I realize there are 6 habits that will absolutely destroy a man's potential if he doesn't cut them out. 6 things that separate the boys from the men who build empires. Let's start with number 1, chasing women. Now hear me out. I'm not talking about healthy relationships. I'm talking about that endless pursuit that becomes a distraction from your purpose. When you're focused on curves instead of your calling, you're literally running away from your own power. And here's the real kicker. While you're distracted, other men are building, they're making progress while you're chasing temporary validation. A man focused on purpose, not pleasure, becomes untouchable. He can't be easily destroyed because his foundation is solid. Number 2 hits close to home for so many of us, procrastination. Man, this is the silent assassin of kings and potential. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you're holding a small funeral for your destiny. You're making yourself comfortable in chaos while others are building their futures. Those wasted seconds of today, they become the seeds of future regret. I've been there, putting things off, telling myself I had time. But time doesn't wait for anyone, and potential doesn't care about your excuses. 3rd habit, negative mindset. This one's powerful because doubt is like a form of witchcraft that paralyzes your potential. When you say, I can't, the universe agrees with you. But faith? Faith is psychological warfare against your limitations. You have to believe in yourself before you take action. You have to refuse to think weak thoughts. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy, and you get to choose which one it becomes. Number 4, laziness. This one's straightforward, but so many men miss it. Intentions don't pay bills. Only execution and results do. The world rewards what you actually do, not what you intended to do. That little extra sleep, that slumber when you should be working, that's how poverty creeps in. Resting while others work leads to irrelevance. To succeed, you have to outwork the competition, plain and simple. 5th habit, vices. Man, this is slow suicide sold as entertainment. Whether it's cigarettes, alcohol, endless scrolling, you're sacrificing your future for fleeting pleasure. To command anything in life, you must first master your own flesh. Self-control isn't about restriction, it's about freedom. Freedom from being controlled by your impulses, freedom to pursue what really matters. And finally, number 6, complacency. This is the graveyard of potential. Comfort is where men fall because they stop climbing. Thinking you've made it is the beginning of your decline. Even God rested after creation, not during it. A disciplined man is driven by purpose, calm in adversity, building when others break. He who endures to the end shall be saved. That discipline makes you untouchable. Now, let me shift gears for a minute because I want to touch on something related, relationships and mental health. Because all this discipline means nothing if you're letting toxic relationships drain your energy. Here's a hard truth. It's not hard to recognize when someone no longer wants you, but it is hard to accept. How you're treated is more important than how much you like someone. Your self-respect must be stronger than your feelings. For the sake of your mental health, take all mixed signals as a no. Some people want attention without commitment, and you can't make someone love you by giving them more than they appreciate. Stop looking for the good in people you know are not good for you. Focus on their actions and energy. At a certain age, repeated issues reflect a person's character, not mistakes. And here's the bottom line. Stop being considerate of people who never considered your feelings. It's better to adjust to someone's absence than to be miserable in their presence. Your peace is worth protecting. Cut the habits that hold you back, protect your mental space, and build the life you were meant to live. That's what makes a disciplined man untouchable. Thanks for listening to Great Day Radio's The Man Cave podcast. Until next time, keep building. Peace out. Welcome to the Single Shift Men, Mental Health, and Modern Relationships on Great Day Radio. I'm DJ Mikey D, and today we're diving deep into something I've been noticing more and more in my circles. The growing number of men who are choosing to stay single or delay serious relationships. This isn't just some random trend, folks. It's a complex shift with mental health right at the center. First off, let's talk about how much the cultural script has changed. Remember when getting married by 30 was just what you did? That pressure has seriously diminished. There's way more acceptance now for different life paths, and honestly, that's a good thing. The focus has shifted to personal growth, individualism, figuring out who you are before you try to build a life with someone else. I've had so many conversations with guys who say the perceived costs of partnering, losing that freedom, having to compromise on everything from career, moves to how you spend your weekends, just feel heavier than the benefits right now. And you know what? That calculation makes sense in today's world. But let's get real about the economic side of this. Man, the financial pressures are no joke. Job instability, crazy housing costs, this whole gig economy thing, it creates real insecurity. And there's still this lingering expectation, this internal pressure for men to be providers. When you're struggling to provide for yourself, how are you supposed to feel ready to build a life with someone else? I've seen friends carry this quiet shame about not being where they're supposed to be financially. That self-doubt can absolutely delay the desire to marry or commit. It's hard to open your heart when you're worried about keeping a roof over your head. Then there's the whole dating app revolution. On one hand, you've got more options than ever before. On the other hand, decision fatigue is real. Swiping through endless profiles can make connections feel more superficial. It creates this paradox of choice where nothing ever feels quite right enough to commit to. And that environment, it can breed ambivalence. When there's always another potential match just a swipe away, settling down starts to feel less attractive. The grass is always greener on the other side of the screen, you know? But here's where we get to the heart of the matter: mental health. Traditional masculinity norms, they're brutal when it comes to emotional vulnerability. Man up, be strong, don't show weakness. These messages make men less likely to seek help when they're struggling. Untreated depression, anxiety, relational difficulties, these things make forming intimate partnerships so much harder. If you're dealing with low self-esteem or fear of rejection, dating becomes terrifying. Emotional intimacy feels like a foreign language you never learned. And let's talk about male friendships. As we get older, those friendships often narrow. We lose that practice in intimacy, that emotional support system. That can lead to real social isolation, which just compounds everything else. But here's the important flip side. This rise in singlehood isn't just a story of struggle. Many men are consciously choosing this path as a positive thing. They're valuing their independence, focusing on self-care, pursuing careers they're passionate about, traveling, exploring creative outlets. After witnessing unhealthy relationships or going through divorce, some guys are opting to prioritize emotional stability. They're setting healthier boundaries. And honestly, that's growth. That's wisdom. Single life can be incredibly fulfilling. Close friendships, chosen family, community involvement, these can create rich support networks that meet emotional needs outside of romantic partnerships. Now, the consequences of this trend are complex. On one hand, long-term singlehood can increase loneliness and poorer health outcomes for some men, especially if those social supports aren't there. But on the other hand, it can reduce relationship stress and allow for incredible personal growth, which absolutely improves mental health. So what do we do with all this? We need to normalize therapy and peer support for men. We need to teach emotional literacy early. We need to redefine strength to include vulnerability. And we absolutely need to address structural issues like economic precarity and workplaces that don't support mental health. If you're a man struggling right now, please consider reaching out for help. Even just connecting with a friend can make a huge difference. And if you care about the men in your life, listen without judgment. Encourage help-seeking when it's needed. The goal here isn't to pathologize singlehood. It's to ensure every man has the support and tools to build a fulfilling life, whether he's flying solo or building a partnership. Thanks for tuning into the Man Cave Podcast Show on Great Day Radio. Take care of yourselves and each other. Peace out.